All right. Welcome to Mediocre Rumble Brothers. I'm Udon, your host again. With the team with Corey and Edwin. We're just gonna have a nice chill chat today. We're gonna have a gamer chat, just tell you about what we've been doing personally outside of a mainstream topic, maybe a soft topic here or there. But before we get into it, if you would, it would mean a lot to us if you could subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Spotify and Rumble. It would help us out a lot, especially if you enjoyed today's episode or any of our other content. So, to get it started, we'll just open up the floor to anyone who wants to speak first. What you've been doing, because we haven't had one of these in quite a while, and these are little times to just talk about what we've been personally doing outside of whatever we're doing directly for the podcast. So, I'll pick on Corey. Corey, what have you been doing, just in your personal gaming?
I don't know the last time that we had one of these, but I think it might be back when we were all playing Night Rain. I've since cleared every boss in Night Rain, and then I've started playing Final Fantasy VII on PlayStation 1. It was kind of a random, I think I just woke up one morning and wanted to just kind of chill. So I'd started that a while ago, and I have been playing Wuchang Fallen Feathers. That came out like 2 weeks ago, I think, a little bit of the game of the month, as well as Donkey Kong Bonanza. So there's kind of a nice balance, I guess, of like genres that I'm kind of playing, and I kind of like that because if I'm not in the mood for a Souls like punishment, then it's like, well, I'll play Donkey Kong because it's a colorful, chill like vibe, and then it's like, oh, I kind of want to go back to some nostalgia here, so then I turn on Final Fantasy. I think I was making a short for this week for Final Fantasy VII PS1, and when I was getting the music for it, I was like, "Oh, I better turn on my PlayStation and give it a few minutes to."
Now that Wu Chang, I know you and me were talking about it, but how about you tell the other people out there, considering you're pretty much a Souls connoisseur, how does Wu Chang fare against the other Souls like you've played not only this year but like overall? So compare it to like Night Rain and Stellar Blade, Lies of P, stuff like that.
Wuchang is pretty fun. I have had a lot of fun playing it. Honestly, the controls are really tight. The graphics are good. The sound quality is pretty good. The enemies, I haven't ran into like any weird like jank with it, which is kind of nice because usually that's kind of what I'm expecting when people are kind of approaching Souls likes or weird health walls. Games like Code Vein, they do that where the enemy just has so much damn health and it's less difficult and more just endurance. But with more of the modern Souls-like games that have been coming out, like Lords of the Fallen, Stellar Blade, I guess I'll consider that a Souls-like. It's more of an action, like akin to Nier Automata.
I think it
Uh,
has more in common with a Souls game than it does with Nier. I'm not saying it's not what you're talking about. I'm just saying when I played
yeah,
it, I felt it like it was a Souls like, but I consider it anyways. It's close enough.
Wukong, and obviously Night Rain is. I'd have to say it's kind of a more fun Elden Ring. Elden Ring is really awesome. I love that game, but Night Rain just. I guess the chaos of it is what makes it even more fun because you can just jump off a cliff and you just hit the ground literally running and like go to town. But I would say it's Wu Chang is really good. I wouldn't say it's better than Stellar Blade. The Stellar Blade has a few things going for it that Wu Chang doesn't have. Which one, the cosmetics in Stellar Blade are like really awesome compared to Wu Chang's, and uh, the I guess art direction or overall world building of Stellar Blade and Wukong and stuff. Like Wukong is another like Chinese lore game, and so Wu Chang is another Chinese lore game. But both of them being similar in theme, Wukong has just so much more detail, and the environments just look so much better. Not saying that Wu Chang is bad, or I guess Fallen Feathers, just to make it a little bit clearer of which game I'm talking about. I think it's just Wu Chang or Fallen Feathers feels more generic, and Wukong feels like more like entrenched into the mythology of it. But then you have Stellar Blade, which is post-apocalyptic sci-fi alien robot like kind of stuff here, and the world design for that is like really cool. The characters look really cool. The monster designs are really cool. Um, and I guess Lords of the Fallen's art direction is also uh, a lot better. It's just more interesting, especially with the two like world thing that they have going on for it. But I honestly like playing Wu Chang more than Lords of the Fallen 2. So it's enjoyable. I played some shitty. I think Immortal Unchained or something was a very bad one from a couple years back. But I would say it's in like the I guess the upper echelon of Souls likes that are not from soft games.
Well, what would you say is like the thing that the game like what is the weakest part about the game that you don't like compared to the good ones?
Um, it has like a weird blocking mechanic kind of thing. It's based off of like so the game is heavily combat oriented, like stylish combat. There's combos and things like that. So the game's supposed to be like fast paced. So there really isn't any like actual blocking, but there's more. You have to unlock an ability to block with a weapon type, and each you have six weapon types in the six or five weapon types in the game. Each one has its own type of skill on parrying or something like that. And so, with all this focus on combat, uh, the longsword kind of makes everything irrelevant because the damage output is just so good. Plus, if you have the whip longsword, your reach is crazy. So they have all this cool stuff with combat, but you kind of end up falling into. Honestly, it's kind of the problem that other Souls games have is the great sword. Like everybody's just a giant blade walking around. Um,
Mhm.
the the bosses do kind of vary in. They're not like terribly difficult, but there's just one boss, and I'm sure anybody that's played Wuchang that far knows what I'm talking about. Is like this straight up wood chipper boss that is that game's version of Millennia, and it has this like when enemies are comboing you and you fall down, they can still hit you in your getting up animation. And
Ugh,
so there's
I don't
times
like
where
that.
it's like I'm getting killed because I'm caught in an animation of some kind. And it's not like they're choke slamming me animation. It's more of a like I'm literally getting up off the ground and you're
You don't have
smoked.
any
Yeah,
iframes when
I
you're like
don't have
recovering.
yeah, and so there's that, and then um, the game's pause screen takes up the entire screen, and I was led to believe for some reason, maybe it's because Wukong pauses the game, um, when I was initially playing it, there I saw a boss and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to pause real quick and check my stats." And then when I unpaused it, he was standing right in front of me, and I was like, "Oh, this game doesn't stop when you go to that menu." uh,
Oh no.
yeah. Um, let's see. There's the cosmetics. I guess one of the downsides is like the longsword, right? I have the whip longsword, and I'm level 60 something, and I have been using this same weapon for maybe the last 35, 40 levels. And I feel like the weapon diversity is pretty low for a game like a Souls like where you find a bunch of stuff. And, Stellar Blade kind of makes up for it with its outfits and things like that you're finding. But Wu Chang's outfits are kind of it, they're weird because they balance off of like just resistances. They don't have a weight class of any kind, so you can just put stuff on. But most of the outfits are very generic, and um, a lot of other stuff is like I've killed bosses, but I don't find any like cool boss gear that much, or anything that's like really like eye catching, I guess. So I feel like the items are limited. The combat is kind of it, though it's cool, and I've tried all the weapons out. The combat's balancing act with the large sword kind of eliminates the reason for you to use anything else. Also, the enemies are all very quick, and the axe is super damn slow. And though you could knock an enemy's poise down, it's like you could do the same thing with the greatsword anyways, and from farther away, and faster because the like build up for the axe is just kind of why would you ever use it? I think the game kind of falls into it has a lot of cool ideas that are fun to use if you do engage with them, but you like why would you ever use them anyways?
As the Skyrim stealth archer problem, it has a balancing issue where like one strategy is like incredibly more viable and powerful than everything else. It sounds like.
Yeah. Oh, another issue that I've encountered in the game because I haven't seen like any collision issues though. There is some instances where I have been pushed out of bounds by enemies, and it's not like a oh I glitched
Hmm.
through the map and fall. Like it's Literally, like a cliff or some sort of like pitfall or something, and then an enemy just shoves you, and there's nowhere for you to land because there isn't any level there, and you just kind of fall out. Even though your character might not have actually died from the fall, but because the level is not necessarily there, you're out of the level bounds. It counts as like a death. And so I've fallen from a very short distance before on the other side of a like a gate or something, and then the game's like, "You fell." It's like, wait, but why can I come over here if I'm not supposed to be over here? Um, but the other thing it has is these NPCs that kind of gather around, and they're doing their own whatever bullshit, and you can talk to them to initiate quest lines or whatever dialogue here, insert video game bullshit. You have to be standing in front of them because they won't talk to you if you walk up behind them. They don't turn to face you. And some of them are standing in front of campfires. And so you have to find a like happy medium between standing in the fire and taking burn damage and triggering their conversation. And it's kind of annoying because it's like, dude, just talk to me. The icon is lit up saying that you are a target, but it won't give me the option to press X to initiate the conversation until I'm standing like at the correct, like just close enough to the front of them because I don't know, for some reason the NPCs don't turn to face you.
What would you say the game does? Does it do well? Does it do anything exceptionally better or different than like the other Souls like that might draw someone to try it?
I think the combat's fluid. Even though I'm just using the longsword and I have tried the other weapons out, just longsword aside, is still the combat is kind of cool. Like you still have these cool moments where you're like let's say it has this mechanic in it that's unique to it where you build up madness. If you keep dying over and over again, you build up madness, just like the player. So that's just how it goes. And if you're capped out at madness, when you go back to where you last died, a demon chick who appears in like the first cutscene of the game, who hands you this sword, whatever to like the first weapon you get in the game or whatever. She hands it to you in a dream and you wake up. That demon lady shows up, and she's just generated with a random weapon because it's basically just a copy of you, but she's wearing like a white Ronin outfit, and she might have a long sword or double blades or a spear. She's kind of like an invader spirit in Dark Souls, so it's almost like a mini boss. But when you beat her, it clears your madness level, and it goes all the way back to zero, so you can continue. Because when you're at full madness, the game doubles your damage, but doubles your damage taken as well, or something like that. So you kind of don't want to go into boss fights with madness on. If you miss a dodge, that's going to be way worse than before. So you want to go fight that chick. So you go have like a little NPC or something kill you outside, like an arena in a safe zone, so that you can spawn her in and then beat her ass, so that you can get rid of your stuff. But like that part is really cool too. I do like that rather than an enemy like, oh, that enemy that killed you, he has your souls now. It's like instead when I have the madness demon that comes up, it's like I have this cool little fight, and she can parry you because she has the similar moves you do. So those fights feel really fun because she'll dodge you and everything else, back up and heal, and then use moves on you too. And I think the combat is pretty fluid and like fast paced enough to where it feels like it has its own. It's not like imitating Dark Souls' combat. It's just imitating the difficulty style, and I think it does a pretty solid balance of that too, because the enemies aren't spongy, and like I feel like the damage is pretty fair amongst stuff. It has the bonfire system and everything else, so their main focus with it being like fluid combat really kind of sets it apart.
That's very cool. I mean, I'm not the way it sounds might sound like it's up someone's alley. I've stayed multiple times on a big Souls like fan, so I have no real reason to look into it. But
Is it? I've seen Corey play. I've been hanging out with Corey a bunch, so I've seen him play it a lot. But I was like watching isn't actually playing. So Corey, from my perspective, it looks like a fairly easier Dark Souls game. But since you're the one actually playing it, is it like actually easier, or is it like harder than like Wukong and like regular Dark Souls and Elden Ring?
Oh, it's much easier. Wukong is like hands down more difficult than Fallen Feathers is. Wukong also has like way more bosses. That's the other thing. I think I have 3 bosses left in Fallen Feathers to beat the game, and I think there's only 3 hidden door like areas too in the game too. So it's like really compartmentalized. I don't think it's a full $70 game either though, so that's kind of nice. The like Liza P is also harder than Fallen Feathers, and I do enjoy Liza P a lot too. I would say that Liza P is also a better game, but that's also because it has, like I said, music, better art direction. The setting is like really neat, and it feels more original than just like here's a ancient like Asian themed gory town here.
Yeah, Liza P is very much like Expedition 33, like version of the Dark Souls series, because vastly different from all the others, and it just does a lot of other things right that the mainline Dark Souls and other Dark Souls seem to miss.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, Edwin, what have you been up to?
I have been trying my absolute best not to play games I've already played dozens of times because I've been recording. Well, I've been making recordings for like the background footage for some of the videos, and then some of them are like games that I've played too many times, and then they just keep calling for me to continue playing them. I just wanted to play them for the recording, but I played some Ratchet and Clank, and then some Pac-Man World 2, and then the Pac-Man World 2, I was like, the recording is pretty much like more than half the game. Surprisingly, I did not think that I could make that much progress in like an hour and a half. But like the Ratchet and Clank, after not playing it for so long, I've just been itching to just continue playing it again.
Mhm.
And then and I don't know if Corey's already gotten it, but you'll find my shitty Tony Hawk Underground 2 gameplay. This game is much harder than I remember when I was younger. It's like I've just seen like my cousin play it a bunch, and then that game, for a Tony Hawk game, there's definitely a lot more chaos in that game than I initially thought later on. But it's pretty much just douchebags going around the world destroying everything. That's pretty much what the game is. But I've been playing Bonanzas. I haven't made that much progress. I think I'm in the not really sure. I think I'm still in like this second main area, the canyon. I'm still trying to like get everything before I actually leave to the next layer. So it's a bit of a slog on just collecting everything because I really just want power ups just to make the collecting easier for later on. So I've been neglecting to actually level up my health and pretty much the necessities for survival, and just focusing on the collecting skills and the destruction ones.
I mean, I don't think the health upgrades are really that necessary. The game's kind of easy. The only times I've died really is due to like getting timed out on a challenge or something.
Yeah, like most of this like time being spent is less exploring and more of just pure destruction, just so I can get the treasure chest, so it can tell me where all the bananas are. At least the ones that I can't find with the sonar slap. So that's pretty much. I'm getting a lot of progress on the destruction stat rewards. Another
No,
game.
no, just
Was it?
hold on. But that's how I feel about the health. I mean, do you feel like you been killed like by enemies in the game yet, even though you've been ignoring your health?
I think the only time I died was when I was because of the bramble, because I kept falling on it on a specific level, purely because I was just farming banana chips for easy like banana gems.
Hmm.
So that's pretty much the only time I've actually died, is because I kept screwing up the buttons for the surface surfing. So
Okay, yeah, because I feel. I mean, some people have been saying like the game is too easy. Like it's like, oh, it's a baby's game, and I'm like, no, I mean, like the challenge isn't really like the baseline thing. The challenge is finding all the stuff. It's a collectathon game. Like, do you feel like the game is too easy?
yeah, the bosses are. I mean, I don't have a problem with it being easy. It's just a lot more casual gameplay, which is fine by me. I like those games. But the bosses are like super simplistic and not not really challenging. So I mean, I'm fine with it, but I still find it like a little bit negative. Because fucking Donkey Kong 64, that shit, those bosses were fucking hard sometimes. Was it
Mhm.
granted? I mean, I was younger at the time when I actually made a lot of progress through it. but I mean, I don't know. I haven't actually gotten back to it. So I was like, I don't know how much if I was just a dumb kid or if they're actually like easier
I
or if
mean,
they
I
really are hard.
I mean, I do. I mean, I can't speak for 64, but I feel like the game is easy, but I don't see that as like a problem as a lot of people do. I don't understand where the stigma came from that like if a game is good, it needs to be like ass breakingly hard. But like it's definitely like the only times I've ever even felt threatened to die is because of like environmental hazards doing like way more damage than you would expect them to because I'm at a part of the world where you're gonna find lava and more like just like stuff like the lava and the spikes and stuff like that. It's like that stuff does like a lot of damage to you, and you can always hit it like accidentally a lot because if you don't clear out as much of the terrain as you should, you'll hit it by accident. Like the enemies themselves hardly ever hit me. It's always just the environment that seems to hurt me a lot. But at the same time, I don't feel like that's a big issue because it's a collectathon. The challenge is finding everything. The challenge isn't like having a Dark Souls boss or anything like that. I'd even compare it to a game like I've gone back and played a bit of Kirby's Forgotten Lands for some footage for a short. Um, which after playing it, I forgot how much I like that game, and I might get the little expansion, like the upgrade to Switch 2 that comes with the expansion, maybe later this month. It's not going anywhere, so I might put it off. But um, Kirby's like an easy game, but like the challenge comes during like the entire main game is not hard, but like they have like a whole post game where suddenly the challenge like cranked up to 11, and the mini games can get quite hard in like the later sections. So it's like I feel like people are giving games like Donkey Kong or any other kind of game. It's like, oh, it's too easy, and they put it down. It's like, well, that wasn't really the challenge. Like, I don't understand why everything needs to be hard. Um,
Yeah,
like if I want a challenge, I'd go play Dark Souls or whatever game that is designed. Like I don't get and the opposite end. I don't mind when games are designed to be ass breakingly hard. I'm going in there probably I should be going there expecting that, asking for it.
yeah. Forgotten Lands. I have had that game for a very long time, but I haven't actually finished it. I have absolutely no idea how close I am to finishing it. The uh, like the main levels aren't like difficult. It's like the same as like regular other Kirby games, but the boss fights for in that game are significantly harder than what you'd expect if you're like a completionist because the some of the challenges for each boss are very annoying to actually try and do because it forces you to play differently than how you initially beat it. So it's like I like some bosses I spent like maybe a Dark Souls amount of deaths on some of those bosses just to complete all the challenges. So I mean that's like the actual challenging part. I don't have to do that. I choose to do it because I don't want to like go back and then miss everything. Kind of like what I did with Pokemon Legends Arceus. Like I've completed the game, but now I don't feel super compelled of like the overwhelmingly amount of stuff that I have to do because I ignored it when I was initially playing the game. Like I have like 200 Pokemon tasks to do, and I was like, that's so much, and I don't want to be bothered with it. So I just avoided it.
Yeah, I understand. It's not so bad if you take it in like bite-sized chunks because I'm on my second run through of completing it again, and but I like the challenge and stuff like that. It just lets me be immersed in the world. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting because a lot of people were writing off Bonanza like, oh, it's too easy. I'm just like, well, why is that a problem? I don't understand why something being too easy is necessarily an issue. We going into it expecting it to be ass breakingly hard. It's a Nintendo game mainly for families. It's not supposed to be horribly hard. If you go looking for the challenge, it's collecting all the bananas. Like that's the hard part.
Yeah, it's the
All the
endurance
bananas
of
and all
it,
the
right?
fossils.
It's the
Yeah.
endurance of getting like all of the collections, exploring all of the worlds and everything else. Like that's what is, I guess, quote unquote, difficult with Donkey Kong. And the game itself is made to be played, not necessarily made to punish you. And I mean, yes, like not every good game needs to be difficult. Some games are just experiences, right? Like if you look at Journey, people like to bring that game up a lot with like, oh, it's one of the best games ever, or like Thomas Was Alone. Like that game gets some critical acclaim, and they're not hard games. It's about like the experience you had playing through it, and you're like, wow, that was fun. Never picked it up going like, where's all the bosses?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Disagree with Journey, but it's a little too casual. Where like it's just like an interactive movie, whereas like I'm not really doing anything. I'm just kind of walking through really beautiful scenes, and then that's pretty much the game. And it's like if I go back to it, that's it.
Like if you wanted a Journey experience that had that like, wow, this is very beautiful, but you also wanted the like boss fight experience, then just play Shadows of Colossus.
Well, Shadows of Colossus, I feel like, is a bit hard though for a casual person.
No, that's what I'm saying though. As somebody who is like, oh, I want to play like if you're looking for something like Journey, but you want it to be challenging. Then,
okay.
Shadows of Colossus is this because there's nothing really in between. You're going on a horse ride through this really beautiful landscape, and then you get to the giant tower that wants to beat you to death.
Yeah.
Or actually defend itself, depending on how deep in the lore you are of it. But if you haven't played it, you should play that one.
I have not.
It's on the list. I haven't played it either, but it's one of them. It's one of the ones I do want to add to the collection eventually.
Yeah, I've seen 3 people play it, but I haven't played it myself.
But train of thought escaped me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just found it funny. Oh no, I remember what I was gonna say now. Yeah, I kind of agree with Edwin. Is that like I still qualify Journey as a game, but I kind of like label it as like an experience. It's not really like. It's not like the gameplay is just meant there as like set dressing. You're pressing forward because it's immersing you by having you have some kind of player input. It's not necessarily any kind of, because even easy as Donkey Kong is, it's still, there is a challenge to it. You still have enemies to beat. You still have things to do. Whereas Journey is just like journey from a point A from point B. And like, I don't have any issues with experience games per se. I remember I played, son of a bitch. What was it?
I thought that was the name of the game for a second.
Son of a bitch. What was it? That was a great game. It was one of those walking sims. It had to deal with like a girl visiting her family's house, and her family was like plagued by like these bad luck, and everyone would like die or go missing. Was it Gone Home? It was What did I play it on? I think yeah, it was first person. You're playing as like this pregnant girl who was going back to her house. Let me look it up right quick.
There's another one called Everyone's Gone to Rapture. That one's kind of a walking simulator narrative.
I tried that one. I couldn't get into it. Was this Gone Home? I'm looking at it right now on Steam. It looks. Where is it? I wish I could see like a picture of the house on the outside, though. I don't know if this is it.
She's like getting a ride back, and she's basically delivering a narrative of like a letter she wrote. Her sister's missing or something.
No, it's nothing about. No, I don't think it's this one. You arrive home after a year abroad. You expect your family. No, this is not it. This is gonna bother me now. What the fuck is this? But either way, while I'm looking for this, the other point I was trying to make, because I enjoy visual novels, and I would also say the same thing for visual novels, as in like it's not really a game; it's an interactive novel. It's in the name. You're just doing a lot of reading, and you're also occasionally accompanied by choices and like some fun visuals and music and stuff, maybe occasionally voice acting depending on what exactly you're playing. So those I wouldn't even really count, because the challenge is literally non-existent. They're still games, but it's like I feel like they're in like a completely separate part of the conversation. But I guess here's a fun question, because I think everyone here's played Odyssey, right? Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
Would you say Bonanza or Mario Odyssey is more difficult in quotation marks?
Probably Odyssey. Like it's more complex because the amount of things that you can take control of, you have to learn how they work and how they affect the environment, because the game doesn't exactly tell you. Like there were a lot of situations where I would take over something, and then unless I pressed one specific button, it has some ability that I didn't realize, and then some of them are, this affects the environment much differently than what you expect. And it just has like more convoluted puzzles. Meanwhile, Donkey Kong is just like, if you can't destroy it, power up and then destroy it. Otherwise, it's like some other kind of puzzle. Just run around and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, I agree there. The Odyssey is more complex. I guess, level designs. But that's just because Mario isn't punching his way straight to the finish line.
Yeah, I guess it has more of more structured experiences where it's like you have to beat it this way or not at all sort of thing. And
Yeah,
you can kind of cheese some stuff in Mario Odyssey if you're like really good with the movement mechanics and skip some stuff, but generally I guess yeah, it's less forgiving than Donkey Kong is. Um
yeah,
Some intense fights as well, like the New Donk City where you're fighting that Thunder Centipede and you're a little tank. I was like, "Fuck's sake, this is this is pretty metal."
this is a Mario game. What the fuck is going on? Um but yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to touch on, difficulty in games. It's always a fun conversation to have. But keep going, Edwin. You were going to say you were going to continue on with other stuff you were playing before I got you on a bonanza tangent.
Yeah, I've trying to uh do like specific things in order because like the thing I go to do daily is just like the daily stuff that I do in Zenless Zone Zero, so I can get as much currency for like the premium shit. But there's like they always have like so many things going on like every other week, and then throughout the entire month. So I kind of have to balance everything a little bit around that because some of the stuff takes like forever to actually finish. So I just kind of like pick a day where I'm off work and then just like sit down and do that really long convoluted thing because it's like the main story stuff. But because the only thing I'm actually focusing on is the main story, so I actually like sit down and not skip dialogue just so I'm not lost later on because I actually do like the story and the characters that are introduced. Because all the other content is usually just like more in depth of the character, just involving them, and then some other random NPCs that like come and go. So it's
Mhm.
like I play some Zenless Zone Zero, just making sure everything's maintained. Um, and I'm like going to and from our monthly game and uh, Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen is easier than I initially thought. I have absolutely no idea if it's because I over leveled or if the game is just that easy. Um, so it's like I am collecting like so many things that it pops up on screen, but the way the game works is that there's two magic stats. It's Radiance and Inferno. They both are pretty much like your wisdom stat for specific elements, but because of that, the way the game works is if you don't have a high enough stat, it doesn't give you a really in-depth description of what an item is. So most of the time I pick stuff up and then look at the initial thing that it does, and it always has that line. I was like, if you don't have enough radiance or inferno to know what this is. So most of the time, I'm just picking up like a million things in a level, and unless it's like an actual equipment item, ignore it because it's
yeah.
like so many different things in that game. That's like
Mhm.
I have absolutely no idea what this is because it just says what it is and like who I'm supposed to give it to, but I don't know who these people are, and I don't know what the game is describing to me because I don't know what any other stuff is.
There's a lot
So
of weird
it's
systems in that game.
yeah. I mean, I just figured out what how like the boss weapon system works, but I pretty much beat three bosses and then I figured out how to work. So I mean, I still haven't gotten anything from any of the bosses because I'm running apparently a non-efficient character. Because apparently, because I'm maining in strength because I picked the dark paladin, which is the main character class of the game. Uh, but it's like it was main the starting stat was high in strength, so I'm assuming that that was the whole point is strength is the main stat. But I usually go for like a spell sword, so I was leveling up radiance thinking that it was more magical, but there's the three different classes in the game where it's radiance, inferno, and then a mixture of both. So I mean I can't split my all my level ups between all of them equally. So I'm pretty much a cleric at this point. basically a Twilight Paladin is what I'm thinking of it. But the classes are uh, not classes. The stats is pretty much just strength and agility, and then some other classes are a mixture of both. But since I'm only in strength, the only thing I can use the entire game is pretty much just great swords. I can't even use spears or axes because they also require agility. So I'm a little annoyed because I haven't figured out a way to respec myself so I can use more things. So pretty much I've been the exact same character for several levels, the same way Corey has been playing Wuchang Fallen Feathers. So we're both having the same experience but with different games.
Yeah.
Now, isn't like I actually did try Lords of the Fallen very briefly because it was on Game Pass. Um, it seems that that game I feel like is easier because it probably gives you more of a power trip, doesn't it? Because your character's like way bigger and like cooler looking than like any Dark Souls character, if I'm remembering the game correctly, right?
Yeah, the character looks fucking awesome. Like it's super. I mean, well, one they had, yeah, what song they had? They used Holy Diver or something like that. I can't remember. They had some like 70s 80s metal song for like their trailer. That game is very metal. The way all the characters look is so cool. Everything is just
Yeah,
crazy as shit looking, especially in the Umbra world.
Mm-hmm.
the game has like two different level
Areas.
designs. It's the real world and then the Umbral world, which is pretty much like the Dark World. And the game is pretty much a Dark Souls version of Link to the Past, where the area changes depending on which world you're in. But you always have a lamp with you that you can see into the Umbral world, and then when you have the lamp out, you can interact with him a few. But if you get hit with an Umbral enemy that like goes into your lantern area and they hit you, they drag you into the Dark World, and the game heavily enforces you to go into the Dark World even after death because that's like your second win mechanic. You don't actually like get a game over or a death unless you die in the Umbral world. So you basically have two lives, or one, I guess one life, um, and then like your true death is in the Umbral world. Thankfully, during boss fights, the environment or the boss doesn't really change between them. So it's pretty much if you have a little bit to go for the boss health, then that's pretty much how you win. That's pretty much how I've beaten some of the bosses because I completely forget. I was like, oh, I still have a chance, and then I actually finish it. So thank God for that second life.
It's almost like in that game you don't want to use any of your heals until after you've lost your first life.
Well, actually, I was thinking of that, but apparently, when you're in the Umbra world, your healing is nerfed heavily. So pretty much half your healing is actually health, while the other half is like that regenerative health from Bloodborne, where you have to hit something to regain it back. But if you get hit, you lose it. So yeah, use your healing in the real world, and then just be more careful in the Umbra one. But going back to the initial topic, the characters are cool. The one that I still find very funny is the it, it there was a main set of characters when the game first came out. I think it was like 6 of them. Then recently in the 2.0 version, they added 3 more, which is just like revised versions of 3 of the original ones. But the original cleric class is very funny because it's just a really fat, like holy man with a big hammer, and it was just funny to see.
Yeah, a cleric. um, so people know I'm not crazy. I know I exclaimed that I got it like twice while people were talking, but the first time it was a fluke. Second time I got it. What Remains of Edith Finch is the game I was thinking of.
Oh,
That
okay.
that walking simulator game where you're going through basically she's revisiting an old family home that I guess like was they built this big ass house because they had a huge family and it was a crazy looking like foster home for imaginary friends kind of like tall ass house and it's like she's going there because she's going to have a kid soon. I guess she's reminiscing, I guess, because they built that house and a lot of the people in the family like either died or went missing in really odd or like unusual circumstances. And yeah, it's interesting. It's a very pretty game, but it's very much a walking sim. You're just there to experience it, but I really liked it. But because it was driving me nuts because I was just like, I know I've played this game. I know I have. I'm not crazy. It wasn't a dream. Um,
Never heard of that game, but when you were initially talking about it and describing it, I thought you were talking about some game that I've seen someone watch called Virginia.
there's a lot of these games because when I remember, like I said, I exclaimed twice when I found it because first I'm like, oh, it's a suicide of Rachel Foster. I'm like, no, it's not it. It's like, of course, it's Gone Home. Like, no, it's not it either. I'm like, oh, it's the disappearance of Ethan Carter. I'm like, that's it. I'm like, no, it's not. I had to keep trying. Eventually, I gave up. I just started typing descriptors into Google and diving through forums until I finally found it.
I think there was an
Um,
interesting genre push when I think Gone Home and that What Remains game came out because, like Five Nights at Freddy's or Slender Man, I guess, was the one where everybody's like, I'm going to make a first person walking horror game. And they kept copying like Slender Man's aesthetic. And then those story games like Gone Home and, Everyone's Gone to Rapture, like these games started popping off and it was less about being afraid and more about uncovering some sad shit.
Yeah, it's like a mystery, or it does have some like unsettling atmosphere as well, because it's like the subject matter is not fun. Like it's kind of fucked up. Like I remember in the Edith Finch one, you literally kind of like explore how some parents like left their baby in like the bathtub and the baby drowned, but it's explored in like a very, it's very dark subject matter, and you do understand what the game is trying to tell you, but it's not done in such an explicit manner to make it like, super depressing, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
um a lot of dark subject matter, but the visuals and how it's represented to you is like incredibly interesting. um I wanted to circle back to something other. Say you just glanced by it, but you said you're still playing Zenless. Now it's funny. Now, are you still enjoying Zenless? Like you're actually having fun with it. You're not just playing it because you feel like you need to. Not like not too far removed from like a sunken cost fallacy sort of thing. I don't know if you've spent money on the game, but it's just sometimes people play a lot of these gotcha games, play it for a little bit, and then kind of get tired of it eventually. But you're still having fun with it, and you still find the story interesting.
Yeah, I'm still very much interested in the story because it leaves a lot of things hidden and then just like feeds you basically how Corey describes it as like, oh, piece of candy. Um, but it's like the main story revolves around two essentially orphan, uh, I guess I guess I'm assuming at this point they're young adults, even though they act somewhat like teenagers. But they're basically young adults trying to figure out um, the actual mystery surrounding their very wise teacher, and then eventually finding out that they have their own powers. So it just feeds you little pieces of candy like that from the main characters that are very lovable, and then introducing all the vast cast of other interesting characters. So it's just it's just really likable characters that you always hang around, and then if you manage to pull a gotcha of them, you can actually have them on your team, and then so you can just have more of them rather than outside of the story, because once their story is pretty much done, they pretty much go away and then come back when they're like needed for story purposes. Because like in for the longest time, like characters from like chapter 2 didn't show up until like the latest chapter, and like I think like now is like chapter 7, so they were gone for a long while. But I did like their personalities and the way they were written. It's for some of the stuff, the actual maintaining it gets a little annoying, because I think like maybe once a month or every other month they release more story content. So for like a very long time, you're just pretty much maintaining your entire team, or at least the ones you actually care for, on like repetitive fighting mechanics and stuff. But uh, the Hoyo team is very adamant about keeping people engaged with the game. So there's at least one new event every week. So it can be from a vast majority of random mini games that come and go, or revised versions of old ones. So for the most part, outside of uh, like maintaining characters, there is like a lot of stuff to do. Some of the stuff I ignore because it's too hard of content for me to actually do. Not because I'm not strong enough, it's just because I don't want to do it because I want to continue treating the game casually.
It's not that I can't do it. I could totally do it. Don't judge me. I could totally do it. I just don't want to.
Well, I mean, it is difficult, but that's like try hard shit. I was like, I don't want to bother doing that because then I'll like try and do it every week, and then I'll start hating the game.
No, I understand like literally exactly what you mean because I was going to use that as like a segue into talking about my own gotcha here because it's been summer, every gotcha player's favorite time of year. Because I mean I like Zenless and I've poked my head in a few times. Like I said, I finished chapter 1, but as with most gotchas I play, I'll try them for a little bit, but unless they like really capture me or like their daily upkeep is like really easy, I can't like spend too much time with it. I did poke my head in when they had the anniversary because you got like a free 5-star. They didn't have any of the 5 stars I wanted to pick from. It was just like that general pool, so I ended up picking the fire chick with the big hammer because I thought she was fun. When I was trying out the characters, you know what I'm talking about? She has like the eye patch.
Coleta. She used to be one of my main characters, but then she was severely outclassed. And they also
Yeah,
changed her voice, which I do not appreciate.
that's
She was like a rambunctious character, but it's like she was all right. I just didn't like her as much.
yeah, that's what we call power creep in gotcha games, and Pokemon Masters EX has that out the ass. But
Apparently, is that out of the all the Hoyoverse games, Zenless Zone Zero is like not among, it's like it is the most popular. I think the only time Genshin Impact gets any like most of the love is mainly just for like new characters because I think most people are done with that game. So unless there's like any major changes or content, then I think it's like the lowest, like the second lowest. I think Honkai Rail is like the least favorited game out of the three.
I don't know. I guess I still feel like people talk about Star Rail more than Genshin, but that's just me seeing secondhand stuff. I feel like Hoyo's gotten better with their main gameplay loop with every game that they've come out with. I just hope they don't overload themselves because it does kind of suck for the people who do like Genshin the most out of those three and are just kind of getting the short end of the stick because one is more popular than the other. Because I like Genshin's characters, don't like its gameplay. I like Star Rail's gameplay. The characters are all right. And then Zenless had both, but it just asks too much of my time in order to maintain and like keep up with all the stuff to stay on top of everything. Because yeah, I got the Fire Hammer chick, and then I think I rolled the gotcha with some free currency, and I got like that cheetah girl furry lady with the face mask. She's cool. Um,
Oh, Pulcra.
yeah. Because I do like how Zenless plays. It is fun. Again, I just don't have the time for it. Uh, because I was gonna like I said I was gonna segue into my own thing because I've been playing Fate, obviously, Pokemon Masters EX, and I have been playing Musume, but I've kind of not logged into it for the past couple days because again, it's not like the game is like fallen off or anything. It was just big hype about it. I did like playing it, but again, it just asks too much of my time, and I've been having too much fun playing other games recently because like Pokemon Masters EX and Fate, I can blow through those games' daily quests like combined in like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes at most, depending. Whereas like Musume, I have to dedicate bare minimum probably at least 30 minutes because you have to daily play through the career mode all the way, which generally, like, unless you're purposefully fucking up, takes at least 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes depending how far you get, and that's just too much time that I don't have. Kind of same thing with Zenless and Star Rail, like the daily stuff just took too long. Because how I play gotchas, I typically just do the bare minimum daily stuff all through the week, and then during the weekends, if there's an event or a story event going on, I'll sit there and play it for a couple hours at a time, right? And even then, Pokemon Masters is very light on story. It's mainly the gameplay, and the gameplay is very fast and snappy. Well as Fate, yeah, I'm surprised how you say how Zenless has so much story going out. Fate has lots of story, but it's like we get like a story chapter once every 3 to 4 months, but it's pretty meaty. I'll spend as much time as in that story chapter as I would like a AAA game, like 20-ish hours or something. But I've been kind of dropping Umusume. The gameplay's still fun. It's just like I can't have like 3 gotchas going on right now. I was playing Konosuba, but Konosuba had the nice thing of like the daily stuff again was really really fast, and it wasn't a super like hardcore game. But I was saying I know exactly what Edwin's talking about because when I was going really really hardcore into Fate, every event there's always like one super hard quest at the end of everything that's like just total bullshit every single time. And it's funny because I would always look up guides to be like, okay, is there a way I can like 1 or 2 turn this boss? Do I have the right servants and craft essences in order to cheese the shit out of this? If no, fuck it. Because the I have gotten so much of the one currency it gives you, it basically gives you an item that lets you max out any servant's like skill level. But it only gives you one of them. But I've played the game for so long and have so many of those challenge quests at this point that I'm like overloaded on those items. I'll never blow through all of them. And lately, I'll do all of the events right up until that super hard main quest, then I'm just like, fuck it, not doing it. I don't care. I'm not gonna pull my hair out because even as much as I like the story and Fate too, I remember there was like Lost Belt 6 for people who know what I'm talking about, but basically Fate doesn't have like an escalating difficulty like slider. Some chapters are just harder or easier than others, and that particular chapter has had the hardest boss we've had in the game still yet to date. And I remember I was playing through the game and I distinctly remember I was like, I am not strategizing. I am using these items that they've given me that basically let me continue, like after everyone's dead, revive everyone. They all have their super move fully charged and all their skills are off cooldown, and just spam this item until I win, because I'm not about to fucking min-max this nonsense trying to beat Serranos or whatever. Fuck this. If the boss is gonna throw bullshit at me, I'm just gonna throw bullshit right at him and be like, no, I'm just gonna keep going back till I win. I'm sorry. Because gotcha.
It was not that easy with Brave Frontiers. Like I could follow guide to the point, and the game would still fuck me over. And it was like, oh, you got lots of chance. I got to start over. And then some of those fights took like maybe 3 hours of just hard focus. So like, this is fucking bullshit. But it's like I only got to do it once. After that, it's like the boss is mine, and then I get all their shit.
Yeah. That's probably, I mean, it's good that they have hard content like that for the whales, but sometimes just like I don't feel like pulling my hair out today and making myself hate humanity, so I'm just going to skip that. But aside from the gotchas, because I also made out like a bandit on the fucking Fate summer gotcha. I don't even want to know how lucky I got with the rolls I had. But aside from that, I've actually been going back and I've been playing a lot of new stuff. I've been playing a little bit of Metroid Prime, but only just today to catch back up to where I was. But mainly I have actually been playing. I've been like chronically on my Switch 2, like all the time. I've been playing a surprising amount, especially if you go back to the very beginning, and not very beginning, but most of the earlier episodes of the podcast where I basically take a weekly dunk on Scarlet and Violet. I have been like playing nothing but Scarlet and Violet, and I can't express how much fun the game is to me now that it is like it runs well. It runs how it should have at launch. Granted, does that mean the game's suddenly great in my eyes? No, I still think, if you're going to ask me, I still think it's probably the worst in the mainline franchise. However, it kind of opened my eyes to how much like I'm willing to forgive as long as a game performs well. Granted, I still have problems with it, but I'm willing to overlook a lot of the smaller issues now that the game runs good. It makes shiny hunting fun. It makes the gameplay fun. It just makes roaming around the world fun because it doesn't run like ass. Like, I mean, I forgot that since I bought the DLC for Scarlet, that I got an ability to make my Koraidon fly permanently, so I don't have to just glide. I can just fly wherever I want. I forgot I had that ability because in the older Switch, when you used it, it's like, oh, did you want to press the button where you play at 10 frames a second? It's like, no, I'll just walk. But now it runs great, and it's the best way to get around the map. It's wonderful. I'm like, oh my god, it's like I can't believe how much, like, obviously cosmetics still suck. Story still kind of sucks. Even though I will say this, now that I've gone back and I'm going back and playing a lot, like the game's post game is really fun. I still think the main game, like getting to the post game, the main part of the gameplay, still sucks. The post game is what's really fun. Once you're just cut loose and you don't have to talk to anyone, you just do what you want. It is really fun to just go. Like, I really like making Pokemon teams for raids now. Doing the harder and harder raid battles is really fun. Now it doesn't lag like a motherfucker. It still doesn't run perfectly smoothly, but I do that more to Nintendo's dumbass decision to like make it to where the Terra Raid boss Pokemon could potentially take like 3 moves and like take 3 turns in a row, and then the player's turn is like kind of done all at the same moment and stuff, instead of just doing it like Sword and Shield did it, where like everyone goes in turn and it runs much more smoothly. Um, it's not lag so much as like communication hiccups. Uh, but yeah, like the game, like, and I've been playing through the game on Violet that I bought from beginning to end, all on the Switch too. And yeah, cosmetics still suck. You can kind of get yourself looking a bit decent, but you're kind of constrained to whatever color schemes you have for your main clothes, obviously. So that sucks. Um, the world layout is still awful. It's just this giant flat pancake. And I realized playing through it on Violet that I'm like, oh, I realized you're supposed to kind of like flip flop between the left and right side of the map based on how level distribution is. And I'm like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why wouldn't it just be balanced going one way? It would make so much more sense, because it's like the guy, the gym leader you're supposed to take on first is the bug type gym leader, and she's to the left of the starting town. But then the person you're supposed to take on next after that, like level wise, is the grass type guy who's on the right side of the main thing. So you're flipping flopping like on either side of the map, like to follow the level disparity. And I'm just like, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why wasn't it just balanced in one direction all the way around?
Well,
It doesn't make any sense at all.
even if they wanted to make the game truly open world, I don't know why they didn't just use a adaptive leveling system to where the game adapts to the level of the player. I mean, I understand that you're going to have these moments where you out level, but you could theoretically set up a system where the game is going to be within a range of your experience, but pending progress by gating it through how many gyms you've completed, the gym won't level up past a certain spot so that you could still power level it. And that way you could progress through the game in any direction. You could even tell the Pokemon of the area. If the player is this far in the game, then you have roaming Pokemon. Maybe you start seeing more secondary evolutions around. It's not an unheard of technique for balancing a game out, especially if you wanted to have a complete open experience. Like they were saying, yeah, go to any gym in any order. But you go to the wrong gym and you find out that there is an order. So
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, it was like real quick before we can get away from this.
yeah, go ahead.
There's a specific ROM for Pokemon, or ROM hack. I forgot what it was called. It revolved around the genie Pokemon. Um, it was very well made. I think it's still like one of the most popular ROM hacks. But the way that game works, it does what you said, where it like well, not exactly. It basically level caps your Pokemon before each gym, but you can't surpass your Pokemon can't surpass the level of whatever gym pad you have, which makes perfect sense considering that if you do over level your Pokemon, they're not going to listen to you anyway. So it's like there's no point in over leveling them. Otherwise they just become useless afterwards. So it's like that's the way that game does it, and then so that way each gym is something you actually have to like prepare for rather than just being a numbers game.
Yeah, I mean, I only agree with that in like spirit, because while I don't mind Pokemon being more challenging, I'd rather that challenge come from stuff that I'm doing to myself, because at the end of the day, it still needs to be accessible to a lot of people, or like a mode you can turn on and off. I'm not against the idea of like adaptive leveling, because like the DLCs were designed in mind that the player has beaten like nearly all the gyms, because unless it's like right outside the gate of the start of the DLC zones, like all the Pokemon are like level 60, especially the Blueberry Academy. All the Pokemon are all wild Pokemon. They're all like level 65. Like they're all up there, and you can go there at the beginning of the game, but you can't do anything because everything's gonna kill you. So I don't mind Pokemon. I mean, people were kind of excited where, at the beginning of Sword and Shield, you could run into that Onyx at the beginning of the wild area, and the Onyx is like level like 35 or something like that, and then your Pokemon's only like level 5 or 10 or some shit like that, and you're like, oh fuck. Um, so it is kind of fun like that. Like I still advocate for just a structured experience because, like I said, you're expected to flip flop, but I was hard headed and basically did clockwise. I did clockwise around the entire map as far as like completing objectives went. And it's kind of funny because um it kind of breaks the game a little bit in a weird way, because again, the level disparity basically goes from low levels to medium levels to high levels when you're at the top at like noon where the clock hand would be, and then goes back down to medium levels and short, small levels. I started with a gym with Pokemon at level like 10 to 20, and I ended with a gym with Pokemon that's like 15 to 25. uh and Mirai, and I also found out, I didn't realize this, but the Titan powers that you use to upgrade Koraidon or Miraidon to travel better is not based on which ones you get, it's based on which ones you do. So what I mean by that is that like the first one you do is not always going to give you dash. Dash is like strictly tied to doing the cloth Titan Pokemon. So, and he's designed to be the first one you do. But so essentially, the dash was the last ability I got. I got like flying and climbing before I even got the dash ability for my Miraidon. Um, Now I wanted this to be more positive, so I'm going to try and get away from. I was trying to prove that yes, I still have a lot of problems with the game. But that all being said, playing it is fun now because the game runs well. I didn't realize how much I value performance in a game to where I can overlook a lot of the shit that does. It still bothers me, but I can look past it and still have fun with it. I kind of compare it to how Edwin still really likes Sonic Adventure 2, despite that game being really bad, like control wise and mechanics wise. However, he's able to look past that because he likes the character so much. I do too, because I still like Sonic Adventure 2. I just know it's shit. But it's like, in it does it redeem it? No, not really. Like I said, still probably the worst in the franchise, but I can't put it down. I've been putting off playing Metroid Prime because I've been playing the game so damn much, between just doing all the post game content. Which, by the way, to allude to something I said before, yes, the story through the mainline story, the only good story is Arvin's story with the Titan Pokemon. The Team Star shit is stupid. And the gym isn't a story at all. However, the post game, there's actually a ton of post game story that I didn't even realize existed, because I started to interact with the academy, that thing that you have literally no incentive to interact with at all. Just because I'm like, oh, I'm doing all this other stuff. Let's go into the academy. I'll take a few classes. I'll explore all this game has to offer now. Now that doesn't run like ass. You get a lot of story with the Team Star people, like prior to, as they're trying to integrate back into the school system. And I'm like, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm starting to like these characters because this is giving me more like character to work with, because I'm getting to know them a bit better instead of just being like, we were bullied. I'm like, did I get to see it? It's like, no. Okay. And like the more I explored the school, I realized how cool and kind of like, neatly designed it was. Even that lobby area, that library, I really started to look at it. I was like, this place is really cool. I wish I had a reason to be here. I just don't. So that kind of sucks. They have this neat mechanic in the DLC where you can chit chat with all the past like gym leaders and battle them again with higher level Pokemon, which I didn't realize until later how much I kind of appreciated, because how Pokemon's like narratively designed is that the gym leaders are all supposed to take it easy on you. Like Brock isn't an amazing trainer because he has, a fucking level 9 Geodude and a level 10 Onyx. If he was fighting you for real, he has a better team, and that's what you do in Scarlet and Violet, is you go and refight all the gym leaders with like their serious teams, and it's a lot more fun. And it's kind of neat seeing them. It's like, okay, well now I'm actually trying, and they pull out all the stops. Terrastalize.
Also a thing in what is it, Black and White, where you can fight the trainers all over again.
I think it's the world tournament. So it's kind of random when you do, but yes, I do believe that's something you can do. You can even fight like other gym leaders and champions from other regions in it as well, which is cool. Terastallizing still as a whole is just kind of a meh as terms of like, a battle component. I wish it was implemented better and it didn't look so stupid. But yeah, I'm having tons of fun with Scarlet and Violet. Don't misconstrue me. Still think they're kind of bad, but it's just fun now. It kind of reignited my love for Pokemon, and like experiencing all the post game content has been super fun. Hell, today I caught, I think it was like 4 shiny Pokemon today. Like it was like shiny hunting's actually fun in this game, like how it's implemented with the sandwiches and whatnot. Which sandwich building is still as jank and stupid as ever. But aside from that, I was going back and I'm still playing Bonanza. The game's much longer than I gave it credit for. I'm actually on a layer where I got another Bonanza power to where I can turn into an elephant and he can like suck up all the terrain, which is kind of fun. The game's much longer than I gave it credit for. Apparently, I saw a screenshot of someone who beat the game. There are 1,000 bananas in the game, which I was like, whoa. I have like 500, 600 something. I'm only like halfway there. That being said, I'm still liking it, and it's just fun to run around and break shit. Did a lot of recording to get some stuff for shorts, but and nothing aside from Kirby was really going to keep me sticking around that. And I realized how much of fucking playing rhythm games, playing that Hatsune Miku game was like, holy shit, I have to lock in or I'm gonna fucking fail this. I went back and started playing some Minecraft and Stardew again because Minecraft's gotten a couple updates since I last touched it, and I just felt like playing Stardew probably because I have this like cozy game itch because the Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar is going to come out. Come out at the end of the month that I'm going to get, and it looks really fun. So I'm kind of already getting in that like mood. I got a really good seed on Minecraft that I'm excited about. The world is very cool. Lots of biomes really close by. And then Stardew, I'm doing a challenge run where I'm using only animals, especially because they introduced another new farm, I guess, where you actually start out with a coop and 2 chickens, which makes it a lot easier to do an animals only run because at least it gets you on the ground floor with something instead of having to like forage for like almost a year just to afford 1 chicken coop. And that's been fun. And then whenever I wanted to get away from all the happy-go-lucky nonsense, I go cleanse my palate with some Space Marine 2 because I'm still playing that. The horde mode's still fun. They're going to come out with they're coming out with a flamer weapon, which I can't wait to use. I'm actually almost done leveling up all the weapons. And they're going to introduce the Tech Marine, a new class soon, which is going to be the first new class added to the game, and I'm really excited for that because Tech Marines are fucking awesome. Yeah, it's mainly just Scarlet and Violet I want to talk about with that today. Redemption a little bit in my eyes, at least in the fact that I'm actually playing it and having a lot of fun with it. Yeah, so I think unless anyone else has anything else left to say, I can take us out if we want.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Fighting the urge to not play Spyro.
Yeah.
Why Spyro? What the fuck? Why?
Huh? Because the remake for Spyro, the first 3 games Reignited is fucking beautiful and fun to play.
Jordan was,
but I also have, yeah, and then I also have like the dark story version of Spyro, which is like Dawn of the Dragon and the Eternal Night. So it's like those are like dark story Spyro games, and then they have like a cult following for them, and I saw like videos of the cutscenes, and I was like, damn, this is much more interesting than I thought it would be. So it's like I have them, I just haven't played them at all. So it's like I have to find a time to play them at some point. Where it's like I got other shit to play first that I'm already playing.
Yeah, mainly going back and like I'm trying to not buy too many new games right now. I think for the rest of the year I'm just looking at Story of Seasons, possibly like the Sonic Racing or Silent Hill F next month, depending on how good Sonic Racing looks. And then ZA is probably the last thing I'm going to buy this year once that comes out in October because I can't think of anything. Maybe Expedition 33, but I think I'm going to wait until I come visit y'all, and then I'm just going to play Expedition 33 at your house and see how much I like it.
I think Octopath Zero comes out on my birthday, so I'll probably...
Octopath Zero.
Yeah.
That was during the Nintendo Indie. Yeah, the Nintendo, the indie showcase. I think was it the indie show? No, not the indie
No,
showcase. It was the
their
partner
partners
showcase.
showcase. Yeah, so because they have those 2 games, I still want to try the demo for that, like the Adventures of Elliot or whatever it is. Some weird name, but okay. But it does seem kind of fun.
Dude,
Octopath
I
Zero
still
looks neat.
love. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just those. But yeah, like Silent Hill F is something that I want to play. Um, Pokemon ZA. I'm trying to. I want to get Wuchang completed so that I can kind of focus more on Metroid. Because I'm also, though I've been getting lost, I am having a blast playing Metroid. And I'll continue playing through Final Fantasy VII because that's kind of like my breakfast game, I guess. And I wake up early on the weekends and just turn that on, and it's just like, oh, this is nice. And then I don't know. I'm on the fence. I might end up playing Old Country, the new Mafia prequel, just because like I kind of want to play a game like that. But I'm not going to lose sleep if I don't get a hold of it either. So yeah, there isn't a lot of crazy big games on my radar. Maybe Metal Gear Solid's remake, but again, like I don't need to buy that right away. It's just a remake.
Well,
something I have.
We still, it's not confirmed. All Nintendo said is that Prime 4 is going to be out by the end of 2025. Whether that happens or not, we haven't seen, but that is technically on the radar. We just don't know when that's going to come out either. And I am interested in that as well.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably finish. I think since we're playing Metroid Prime anyway, I think before actually getting Metroid Prime 4, I'll probably play the entire series from start to finish first, because I really want to try and finish Prime 2 Echoes, because that game is really fucking hard, which is why I stopped playing it. And then I really like Metroid Prime 3 Corruption.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm interested in the Octopath Zero, but I'm trying to limit myself because I have barely bitten into Octopath Traveler. I really like it because what I was going to say earlier is that 2.5D art style I absolutely fucking adore. And I own Octopath, at least digitally. I have it on my Switch. I just haven't beaten it. So if I'm gonna get Octopath Zero, I'm gonna try and make a rule for myself that if I want to get that game, I have to beat Octopath Traveler first before I go buying another one. Oh, the only other small thing is that Fate's 10th anniversary, Fate Grand Order's 10th anniversary was recently, and as part of it, they released the remastered version of Fate Hollow Ataxia, which is actually the sequel to Fate Stay Night. It's another visual novel that, like Fate Stay Night, never had a official English release, and now this one does. Unfortunately for me, still, it is a digital only thing. I've already bought it, so I have some version of it. I'm secretly crossing my fingers because I'm pretty sure there's a third sequel, and once that one comes out, I'm really hoping they might just put them all on one, like a collection, and then put it on a physical copy. Hopefully, I won't feel too scorned if they did. But I was just happy about that. Just more stuff from one of my favorite IP that I have an official means of supporting and obtaining instead of having to go through a bunch of different channels in order to experience it in a language I can understand. But yeah, alrighty then. So thanks everyone for joining us. I hope we all talked about something that you found at least a little bit interesting. Next week we're going to do our first episode of our new monthly series. I'm not going to reveal what it is quite yet. We'll talk about that on the day, and then the week after that's Metroid Prime. So stay tuned for that good stuff. Brain work. So don't forget to keep exploring, keep trying things, and keep listening. And till next time, this is the Mediocre Rumble Brothers podcast signing off. Thank you for listening.
Later.
Many games, too many games.
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.